I'm speaking today with Ritwik, who is a junior at the College of Wooster and is pursuing a certificate in entrepreneurship. Welcome,
Hello.
Ritwik. Hello.
Yeah.
So you're a junior. You're graduating in the spring of 2024.
Yes.
Oh, what is your major?
So in College of Worcester, like we don't have an entrepreneurship major. So, but we do have the ability to design our own major. So I'm doing a self-design major in entrepreneurship.
Are you also pursuing a minor, or the stealth major sounds pretty broad and all encompassing anyway. So, but are you also pursuing a minor?
It's called an entrepreneurship pathway where like the College of Worcester provides that. It's like focused on entrepreneurship. So you take like different classes within entrepreneurship curriculum that we have. In college, we have like four different entrepreneurship classes that been offered. Rest, we have like a business econ major that offers classes in marketing, finance, but it's more like economic driven major. So it's controlled by the economics department. So what I have done in my major is like I have some classes from economics, like in finance and marketing, and some of these entrepreneurship classes that entrepreneurship center of entrepreneurship conducts, which is four different classes. Then some classes from communication department, because you know like how important communication is for an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
plus some from like data, like nowadays you know how important data is. So like data science major, we have some classes. So it's like taking classes from everywhere I can to form this one major that satisfies my requirement in future.
Are you taking any courses in over in theater, in the
uh
theater department
n-
at all?
I, Not yet, but I have planned one from next semester. Like we have to take like electives in liberal arts college, so maybe in that I was planning.
And whatever you do in your career, any kind of acting and presenting
Yeah.
yourself is critical. I mean, we know that certainly. Um, was the entrepreneurship center or the entrepreneurship certificate, was that a factor in deciding to attend the College of Wooster?
The entrepreneurship pathway was introduced when I was in my like first year. So the one of the factors was the center of entrepreneurship that College of Worcester provides. First thing is like it's very integrated in the ecosystem within the Northeast Ohio. So they have a lot of like startup weekends, startup talks, and like different business people coming in. Plus, you have the flexibility to do like entrepreneurship courses with all the other courses that I just listed. So that was one of the factors. But the entrepreneurship pathway was introduced in my first year, and I was the first person to take that in my college. So
I understand that there are also 8 different pathways
yeah,
in addition to the entrepreneurship pathway.
yeah. So
Uh,
there's like media pathway, then you have your journalism pathway. So like all of these pathways were introduced back in 2020 after like COVID. That gives you like a direction, like a experiential learning experience in that particular pathway that you select that you can't get inside of the class. So you can apply the courses you learn inside of the class to a outside world, like problem or any internship that you do.
does anybody pursue more than one pathway or certificate?
I don't think we're allowed to do more than one. I think we should
Yeah.
need to like select one of them.
What are the resources that you use in particular and take advantage of from the Center for Entrepreneurship?
Oh, I would say first the entrepreneurship classes were really useful. My professor Peter Abramo, he's like my advisor also for the major. So he's always a good resource. You can always ask him. Like I'm also planning to start my own business like in few days. So it was always nice to talk with him. He's like always helping you with any problems that you have. Plus, you can always go and like we have something called Apex where you have career planning and where they guide you and stuff like that. So they connect you to different resources. One of these things were like something called Commons, the Commons. It's like a accelerator program in Akron, which is conducted by the Edge F Foundation. So it's like a business competition where you like live in, where there's students from different universities come together. And it's like a business pitch competition. So it's like over like 2 months or something. So you have given a problem, and then you team up with a partner and you like design a real solution and validate it. So like during that also they connected me there, so I was able to utilize a lot of resources from there, learn how to do customer discovery, how to like validate your idea, stuff like that. So I think that has been helpful. Other things, they usually have like people from other like businesses who conduct with the businesses within Northeast Ohio coming to our college giving talks, so you can always connect with them. Any alumni or something from Worcester who has graduated can also like be connected to you with them as well.
Okay. And you mentioned alumni. What about and Peter is an advisor, but are you do you also have access to mentors?
Uh,
Is there a network of mentors that is part of the Center for Entrepreneurship?
I mean, within the college we have like Professor Peter Abramo, but outside of the college, I don't think we have such kind of like program like where we are given mentors or something.
Okay. You had had participated in something called the Pathways to Prosperity.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that is? Is that a social impact endeavor, or what is it? What was that?
So we have a class called Local Social Entrepreneurship. It's one of the entrepreneurship classes that's offered within the college. So what they do is like they partner with local businesses in Worcester or universities, and it's like a consultancy gig where like you meet with your clients and then you provide them a solution for one of the problems that they have. So Pathway to Prosperity is one of the programs that Ohio State University Agriculture Department that's within the Worcester. So they're conducting that. So what's their main goal is to drive economic development within the Worcester area. So what I did was I was part of the team that consulted Pathways to Prosperity. For that, I like interviewed like 5 different mayors within around the Worcester, like Mayor of Worcester, Mayor of Orwell, Richmond City, and then some of the other influential people who make decisions within the Worcester County. So what you do is like you interview with these people, then you come up with a solution. So we came up with like a food atlas to drive economic development within the county. So it was something like that.
So there was a lot of customer discovery then.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that was. Yeah.
and how did you come up with the questions to ask them?
Like I just came up with myself only because I had set of questions. Because I think when you interview someone, it just depends. Like it's different for you have a set of general questions, but you want to go with like as the interview goes, you have to. Because I was conducting over like an hour interview, hour to 1.5 hour. So sometimes you just have to think on your spot. But in general, I had some questions that I thought of that'd be good. So
Were you an entrepreneur of some kind in high school also?
I would like to say myself one. I had 4 different nonprofits. I'm from India, by the way. So I had 4 different nonprofits that I started during my high school. So to help like different things that was around in my community. They're still going on. I'm still part of them. I also had a investment startup that I co-founded, but I had to sell that because I was coming to US. So yeah, I was quite involved in a lot of entrepreneurial activities.
Yeah, clearly the answer is yes on that one. Um, and how does the College of Wooster define entrepreneurship? And
I would
then, and then also, how do you define entrepreneurship and what an entrepreneur is?
So I would say for College of Worcester, for entrepreneurship, the main thing that stands out is to develop an entrepreneurial mindset where you
Okay.
want to identify challenges and then opportunities, and then you want to develop solutions, and then you want to communicate these solutions to your peers. That's something College of Worcester has always done. Like,
Mhm.
let it be just the courses that you take with entrepreneurship department or any other courses that you take in any other department. One of the goal is for you to not just be like start your business, but to just become effective, add value to any organization that you become part of. So developing that entrepreneurial mindset and any interdisciplinary skills that comes with it, that's something that college usually focuses on.
Wh-
And
uh,
yeah.
what do you mean by interdisciplinary skills?
So, like as you know, as an entrepreneur, like there's no certain set of skills that you need to know because you need to be jack of all the trades. Like you want to know communication, you want to know finance, you want to know marketing, economics helps too. Then, so what college does is like during with this entrepreneurship pathway, we have to take two courses from a field outside of entrepreneurship courses. Like I remember taking intro to psychology was one of the class. One of the
Yeah.
class was with philosophy, and you have your communication classes like org organization communication, argument. So like you take courses from like various department within the college, so you get skills not just in one specific area, but like a larger set of skills that you develop with your education in college of Wooster. That word.
Why are you pursuing then a certificate in entrepreneurship if you've already started and founded four social impact endeavors or nonprofit endeavors, plus, company that you sold? Why are you pursuing a certificate in entrepreneurship? What's the benefit?
I think the most important fact is the experiential learning opportunities. Whatever I have done is was back in India. In US, it's a different landscape. So it
Mhm.
gives me an opportunity to understand the landscape, plus connect with the network. You get an opportunity to connect with the network within the College of Worcester and outside of the Worcester. That gives you an opportunity to do that. So I've been able to like meet a lot of people and like learn from them. Most importantly, because as an entrepreneur, you're always learning from everything that you do. Like learning never stops. So it's just another opportunity for me to like learn different skills or maybe look at different people's perspectives.
Or what do you see as the benefits for having that on your transcript?
I guess like it validates that I have done something within entrepreneurship and it's like a certification for that, like from on paper. But for me, like personally, the experience that you gain through it is more important than what it is on the paper because I've learned a lot in like last 3 years because there's a lot of things that you learn while applying through your businesses, but there's a lot of other things that you learn watching others do. So I've learned from a lot of other people doing stuff, the same things that I might want to do in future that I would not learning from them. So the experience was more important, I guess, uh, from the certificate.
As you know, one of the things about entrepreneurship is there's a certain language that's
Yeah.
associated with entrepreneurship and starting companies and um, developing certain endeavors, which you know. So there are a number of terms that are out there that have been developed that are universally used. And I've got a list and I want to, let me know if you've heard of them, and if you're familiar with them and what they mean to you. So number one, lean startup. What is that?
Yeah.
Uh,
Lean, lean startup is basically where you develop a minimal or like MVP, viable product. So instead of putting all that money up front, you can just start with small and then build up upon that. Yeah, I've learned that intro to entrepreneurship class here.
Design thinking.
Design thinking is, I think we had a whole class. I remember my professor taught on that one. That was one of the important lecture I remember. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Jobs to be done. Is that something
I,
that,
I don't think that's something I
okay. Systems thinking.
obviously. I think that's the most important thing Professor Peter Abramo always emphasizes, and that just gives you a different outlook to look at things. Like everything's so interconnected. It's just not everything's not linear. So yeah.
Customer discovery. We mentioned that,
Yeah.
but
Um, I can give you an example. Like through the Commons program, we were given an opportunity. Like our idea was like we have these what do you call employee shortages that was happening due to COVID. So we were working with Akron Student Hospital that's within Akron. So they had issues with their nurses. They had very high turnover rate. So we
Mhm.
were like given the opportunity to design a solution. So for that, what we did, the day one of that whole conference, we came up with something on paper and like we had this great idea. But then after that, we went and actually talked with the nurses,
Oh,
our customers, and then we realized that the problem is something completely different. So I guess that's the same thing captures like the essence of customer discovery, because you really want to know like what is your product actually worth it? Is it adding any value to the customer
mhm.
that you're serving? So I guess yeah.
And it's not always customers. They're not always, the end users of your product or service. I mean, do you think that we should change customer discovery to perhaps stakeholder discovery?
I guess it depends like what perspective you're looking at as well. Like one of the classes we took was the angel investing class, where it gives you the perspective from the angel investors.
Mhm.
So that was in that class and one class was societal impact, because nowadays you know how important is impact entrepreneurship, where you want to not just look at like what your product is doing, but to the your main customers, but what impact it might have with other entities within the system as well. So I think uh, including the stakeholder would be important in that. That would be more beneficial. Yeah.
Business model canvas.
Uh, yes. You have no idea how many business model canvas I've made in that last 1 year. We just keep drawing now.
Venture capital.
Yep. Angel
Um,
investors.
well, fail fast. Does that ever come in?
Yeah, because you learn from your failures. We watched a video, I remember, where they learn. That's one of the things with entrepreneurship mindset, that failure is a part of the journey. So learn to embrace it as fast as you can.
Um, what do you see as the difference between a commercial startup and a social impact endeavor? What are the
Uh,
differences?
Like, I guess, I know profits is always has to be like your main goal in commercial startup, but with social entrepreneurship or impact entrepreneurship, you want to add some value to the society as well. And personally, from my experience nowadays, investors are looking for like companies that add not only like makes profit but also add value, or maybe like you want to look at sustainability and stuff like that. So I guess not just driven by profit, but also creating a positive change in society, adding some value,
Mm.
making a social impact is important too.
Did or do either of your parents start or run a business?
No, that didn't.
So this is all just coming from you. So what's your motivation then? How did this come about? How did you become an entrepreneur, a social impact entrepreneur?
I guess it depends. Like it goes back from my days in India, like coming across all these people, and like India is a third world country, so you see people going through a lot of difficulties, and I guess you just, I would say I have a big heart that I just want to help those people always. So that's something that drives me all the time, helping others.
And for a lot of people, the word entrepreneur and entrepreneurship has some negative connotations,
Yeah,
right? Is there another term? I mean, is there something else that we should use besides entrepreneurship? Because a lot of people are turned off by that. A lot of people say, that's not me. I don't identify with that. Is there, what are some alternatives? And should the language of entrepreneurship change at all?
I would say one term that I always use is change makers,
Mhm,
because
mhm.
we are change makers. So I also like to not identify that much with entrepreneurship, because you said the negative connotation. But I would say change maker is a nice term that I always like to say.
Is there, is there some other questions about the certificate or the pathway that I should have asked you, or that you would like to share with me?
I guess like what are the requirements of the pathway? That would give you an idea like how is it structured.
Okay.
So how like what we do is like we first go and take some classes from entrepreneurship department that gives you like the general understanding of entrepreneurship. Then you take classes from other departments, like I mentioned, communication, psychology, philosophy. So that just makes your skill sets. Then you apply these to one of the experiential learning opportunities that you might explore during your time in the college. Like you might have an internship, you might start your own business, or you might like work in some research assistantship or work for an NGO, something like that. And then once you do that, you have 5 different reflection points, like at the start of the pathway, middle of the pathway, and the end of the pathway, where you try to connect dots between what you learn and how did that help you in real business world and with your career goals. So that's how the structure of the pathway is laid out. So you can see like how each of the various components would have students in their journey. Yeah.
How do you think that the certificate would benefit me if I'm not going to,
Yeah.
start a company?
I guess that's one of the big things about this certificate is like the focus of building an entrepreneurial mindset helps you to apply the skills that you have captured in any field that you want to go. It's just not related to just starting your own business. You can, the term intra entrepreneurs where you can just work within the companies and like help increase the effectiveness of that particular company because you're always coming up with like problems and then you have to come up with these solutions. So you can add value in any particular organization that you go. Maybe you want to start your own practice as a physician or something like that one day, or maybe you just want to be an employee. You can still apply these skills in that particular thing, I would say.
Um, Ritwik, this has been enlightening and
Oh, thank
insightful, and you have certainly represented the College of Wooster and also what Peter has been teaching you really well. And I want to thank you very much for that.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk with you. I had a great time.
Great.